Support for This Is an Experiment is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Their products are precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. And Manscaped's Performance Package is the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Join over 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with the exclusive offer for you. That is 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code EXPERIMENT at manscaped.com. If my math is correct, that's about 8 million balls.
The experience is the experiment.
Today, I have two guests that are two people that I love very, very much. I got an incredible songwriter, artist, and a producer who goes by the name of Crash. And then sitting right next to him is the incredible Tyler, who is an artist and a songwriter. He hails from Riverside, California, and he hails from Rhode Island. These two guys are the definition of talent. I'm so excited to have you guys here. Please welcome my friends, Crash and Tyler. Welcome, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Oh, dude,
I really appreciate it.
Thank you guys for coming by. You know, I've been so excited to have this happen, and we did one last week, but we're going to replace it with a nice longer one where I can actually get in more depth with these questions, because you are an interesting man, and you are a fucking interesting man, and I'm only learning more every time. So this season is about the balance between being a creative and the business side. And this industry, as much as I wish it was nothing but creative, there's a big side of it where you have to be a business person. You have to fight for yourself, and you have to be able to read your contracts, and you have to be able to do all this stuff that isn't so creative. But then you also have to be able to kind of flip the gear and become a creative within minutes, you know? It's this really weird dichotomy. And I kind of want to just start by asking you guys both the question of, how do you find the balance between your creativity and your art? Let's start with whoever wants to go first.
I think early on, so I come from the business side of music originally. I ran a record label with Grammy Award winning DJ Sharam back in it was like 2012 to 2016, and it kind of schooled me to the game, especially how important it is to know this business, right? Yeah. But I also think having good people around you, have great management and lawyer who vet kind of the bullshit that comes through, and they know what to fight for and things like that. And I would say I'm someone who needs that, because like you're saying, you have to flip the switch and do the business side of things. And I think early on I wasn't so proficient at that. It was one or the other. Either I dive into the business and I fight and get into the pit, so to speak. But now, but when I would do that, my creativity would suffer, right? So having good people around me has really changed that for me. Also, like, getting fucked over in more ways than one, there's so many ways to be fucked in this industry. Yeah. And when it's almost trial and error, right? Like, there's no one who just like goes in clean and comes out clean, right?
Absolutely.
So learning from how you get fucked and looking for those red flags again. I just think it's a process, It's definitely not something that, you can't just go, no two stories are the same. And it's a process that you need to experience and learn just by doing.
Yeah, you kind of start creating this guidebook for yourself.
Yeah.
The point of this podcast is to become this overarching way that people can find ideas on how to get into the industry, how to get through it. But I talked about this on one of my past solo ones, is that I also don't want people looking at what we're all saying and saying, oh, I have to do that. That's my plan. Right. And that's such a big part of this. Like, you two are both found incredible success in your own different sides of the industry, but I guarantee the way you got there and the different choices you guys made were incredibly different, and for good reason. Right. They had to be.
In the same conversation too, when people ask, how do I and what do I need to do? It's like, well, here's what I did, but it's not going to. You're not going to make those same decisions.
Absolutely.
So you can only talk to people and understand that it's a hard road, that you need to overcome a lot of obstacles and keep believing in yourself.
Totally.
And if you do those two things, then you'll eventually find yourself in a position where you have a business and you're making money, you know? But I always say this too. It's like everyone who has been successful in any facet in life, like they just never stop doing it. Right. So it's like believing in yourself and being so consistent. And that was for me, like, I would say the biggest thing for me that got me across the barrier of wanting to be in the industry and being in the industry is I wrote 2 songs a day for almost 3 years for no reason other than the fact that I loved to do it and that I believed that I had the skills to do it.
And that's such a big thing. And I just talked to a buddy of mine about a similar idea, which is you look at these people like Casey Neistat. You look at these people like Jake and Logan Paul. And everybody says that they got the success so quick. But then you look and you realize how much content they created in such a short amount of time.
Yeah.
And that brings us also over to you.
Yeah.
Because you are a very great person to connect those two worlds. You found your success making what I consider to be fucking super badass POV videos and acting and finding this whole sort of creativity, this lane that is it's still new to the world. You know, we know it so well because we're surrounded by it, but you were one of the people who was at the forefront of that. And
Right.
you also had to make that switch into music and kind of find what worked and what didn't. And you really have this great balance between the two. How have you done it?
I think a lot of people just force it. I think there was like beauty in the struggle as far as like I found something that I loved and also that I didn't want to keep doing the POVs because like I said, I was so self-conscious of like going out in public and not being recognized for what I did. Always I was getting made fun of for somebody else's videos, right? So I couldn't do that forever. My self-esteem and like my insecurities were just like controlling me.
Yeah.
So I think I went to I don't know, I love music. So I think that's what I started doing. And I've always had a camera in my hand, even when I was a kid, even like music, always as a kid. I would take pictures. Like I have this story when I was a kid. Like, my grandma gave me a camera when I was like 3, and I took pictures of like the dog shit, and I took pictures of like my dick, and I would take pictures of like crazy shit. And
Wait, how
as
old
an
were you?
innocent, like 3 years old.
Oh my
And I
Dick
would,
pics at 3?
yeah, and it wasn't really like something I was noticing I was doing, right?
Yeah, it was just
It was so innocent. So
Way ahead of your time.
it's what was around.
right. So
Absolutely.
I just always loved photography, like videography and cinema and music. Like my parents I would get in trouble. I would have to stand in the corner for like hours because they found the Carter, Well Done on the Tyga,
Oh yeah.
the Sorry for the Wait for Lil Wayne and you know Outkast and stuff. So
And they didn't want you
they
listening
didn't
to
want
it?
me listening. I grew up in the Christian home and my dad listened to like Rick Ross and stuff, but you better not have that on your iPod.
Yeah.
You know.
You couldn't
So-
hear any
Right. But
But I think well, TikTok was an amazing app for you because it was an intersection of
yeah,
video and music.
right. I think I built a following doing these POV videos, doing my own sets, and I'm going to be like the top rated actor. I just found out that TikTok was the closest thing I could use because of the pandemic. That it would be a profile, like a TikTok or a acting profile,
It's like a resume.
a resume, right? But
Absolutely.
like no fucking Hollywood. At least that I was like, there's no way that they're gonna be like, yeah, we're gonna choose this guy on TikTok.
Completely.
But
Completely away.
But yeah, it's got me like a lot of opportunities, right? So like
Absolutely.
like the YouTubers and stuff and the show and I guess just really just believing in what you want to do and being different and not like being different where it's out of you know?
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
And I think part of this too, which I think has a weird connotation and a weird stigma, is the fact that if you want this badly enough, you're willing to do whatever it takes. You know, Jack Johnson, the artist, has this song called Washing Dishes. And the whole point of the song is there's this girl that he likes that's at the place where he washes dishes. And he goes, I can think about this two ways. I can think that, wow, I'm the dishwasher. She's going to think I'm a nobody. Or maybe she'll think I'm a hard worker and she'll see what I'm willing to do to create a beautiful life. And, you know, for some people, waking up and going to a 5 a.m. shift at Starbucks so they can do their sessions for the day, those are the people who have what it takes to make it happen. Whatever you have to do to get yourself in the room and to pay your bills and to make sure that you can put as much into your music as possible is worth it. And you told me a story about you painting numbers on the doorsteps of houses and asking people, saying, hey, give me, how much was it, $20?
Yeah, it's $20 cash, Venmo, Zelle, anything they had. And essentially, I don't know whoever's listening to this, but in California, there's suburbs, houses where there's 4 or 5 numbers on the curb. And basically what I would do is the ones that were faded, the numbers, I would, create this, this thing, you can't have the numbers faded because in case of an emergency, or if you're having Uber come over, they want to see your house because these numbers on your wall aren't really visible at night. So I got the reflective white paint that if you shine your car light on it, it would be a lot more visible. So these people would snatch it up and be like, yeah, what's $20, kid? So I would pay all my bills like that in the last 2 months before Songhouse, where I met him,
which is a great transition.
I mean, even ask him, even to this day, I always hit him up. Yo, when we gonna link? Because, I just want to be the best.
Well, and one of the things, so before I have my podcasts, especially when I'm doing a one-on-one, I reach out to anybody I can that has a relationship with whoever's coming on, and I try to Nardwuar them, if you will. And one of the things that Crash said about you is he said that no matter where you're at any time, you're the hardest worker in the room. And that's a really fucking big deal, because you can start something new like music, which you had the love for, and you knew that you had what it takes to make it happen. And that comes out of the fact that you have the work ethic. The work ethic is everything. And clearly 100%. Just hearing more of your stories, Crash, I mean, that's obviously something that you rely on pretty heavily, is the fact that you're willing to go and get whatever it is done and make sure it happens and do it right every single time. And that's huge. You got to be the hungriest person in the room. You don't have to be the best every time. You have to be the most hungry. Yeah. You have to need it. And I'm just kind of curious, where did you guys both get this die hard work ethic that will become a huge pillar to the success you both find?
I think for me, it was growing up in Rhode Island. It's a small state. Not much. It's not not much going on, but there's a comfortability like any hometown.
Absolutely.
Only it's the whole state. It's generations staying, and my aunt went to high school with your uncle, and my cousin knows your cousin, all this stuff, right? And that's all good and well, but I think I had, and side note, I love that bubble for them. I love that bubble for anybody who finds happiness in whatever they do and comfortability in it. Happy for you, right? So nothing against that. But I think I just had something about wanting to see the world, wanted to do something bigger than myself. And art early on really did that for me. I have older siblings. I'm the youngest, and much older siblings. And they were riding when they got their license, and I was 7, 8 years old. They were the ones bumping Eminem's new LP and things like that, and so I got exposed to music really early. So I think that early exposure mixed with my curiosity for life outside of New England led me to, and also my family, they did well for themselves, my siblings, and they worked hard in everything they did, and so to have those examples, I just knew that it took a relentless effort to achieve whatever I wanted to achieve, and that if I wanted to achieve it outside of my comfort zone, then I would have to be okay with maybe being broke for a while, maybe just paying dues, like anyone would in whatever profession or anything they're trying to accomplish. And I promised myself that I would never work in a cubicle. So I this is gonna sound ridiculous, but I went to George Mason University, and I dropped out 3 credits shy of graduating.
Wow.
Yeah, I had enough credits to walk across stage, so I brought my family to Virginia as they saw me walk, and then I told them the news, and I was like, basically, if I do this, and it was IT based, business minor, it's like basically if I do this, I have a fallback, and what I really want is art, and I want to put my creativity to use in the world and show people what I can do, and I don't ever want to feel like there's something to fall back on. So
Totally.
I'm not going to finish. And so that mixed with the promise that I would never work in a cubicle, I never have. I've always been employed in entertainment or arts. It's just the chips that I put on my shoulder that I carry through. That's just
Love
the relentless work ethic.
And that sort of self-implied border between being able to fall back on something, the fact that you left that to the side and said, you know what, if I have something to fall back on, then knowing the cushion is there, a lot of times you're going to fall on the cushion.
100%.
And the fact that you did it that way is phenomenal. And I told myself when I was younger, a cubicle will never have me in it unless it's a fucking music video.
Yeah.
And I haven't worked in a cubicle, and I drive Lyft, I drive Uber, I worked
Do
at
what
the
you gotta
Apple
do.
store for a while. I mean, whatever it takes to get there and to make it happen, and
Yes.
to understand that 100% of your day is grinding is a huge thing. And I find that when you give yourself 3 hours to do something that takes 5, or you give yourself 8 hours if you give yourself 8 hours to do something that takes 5 hours, those 3 hours you're probably going to work a lot harder than if you had more than was necessary.
Yep.
I think it's crazy to like grow up how I grew up and then hear what his work ethic and where it energizes, because mine's like totally different. Mine's more like deeper, as far as, not that his isn't deep, but mine's more like family. Like I feel like I'm chasing validation from my dad constantly, you know, and so, and I love my dad, and I probably got like, he's proud of me like once in my life, and that was for something I never wanted to do, and that was wrestling. And to me, I think a lot of my worth ethic was just validation, you know, validation from my parents. And like I never really, like, I had a stepmom, but like my mom was like on drugs and stuff, so like I just always wanted to do what I wanted to do, and my dad would never like let that slide. And I think the biggest thing for me is look, Dad, I was on a show, like I just won the show, and I don't think it still wasn't like, all right, but is that stable enough? So like I asked myself, it's pretty toxic in a way, because it's there's not a cap, there's no limit. Once you win a Grammy or you win an Oscar, you know, it's like in your heart, it's within you that you have to deal with that, right?
Totally.
So I think I'm still like, I'm this kid that is like chasing this validation with also trying to repair all these wounds.
Totally.
As still going, you know.
And I think what's important, no matter who you are, is that you look for the fuel that works for you. And whether it's a positive or negative situation, you use it to your advantage.
Right.
And I think what you're doing is you found that the validation means something to you, and it's something that you're looking for. And you're clearly also aware of the situation, and you understand that there's no cap. What that means is that if you're always chasing it, you're always going to be working hard. And it's something that you can use as fuel. And a negative situation or a negative relationship, I think the most powerful thing you can do with it is to take it into your own hands and flip the situation like you're doing. That the way what you're doing for yourself, I'm sure that the fuel, a lot of the fuel comes from this relationship with your dad, but you're clearly working for yourself as well, and you're clearly a successful person outside of even just the TV show and all this stuff. I'm talking as a human being.
Right.
Sitting down with you last time I felt like I was sitting down next to somebody that I will be friends with for a very long time.
Yeah.
And that's what you do. I don't know what your dad was like. I don't know any of the situation, but what I do know is all these crazy situations that happened made a really great person
Yeah.
and a really hardworking person. And that was exactly what Crash told me is, hey, this kid is not only as sweet as can be, but he wants it. He fucking wants it. And no matter where that comes from, dude, you're doing that. And
Yeah,
that's
Thank you.
that's something that I think a lot of these people need to hear is, and I appreciate you being so honest about it. And a big part of my struggle is looking for validation from my father as well. And it's my dad and I have a phenomenal relationship. He's one of my best friends. He's very upfront proud of me. And the validation isn't something that he needs. Like he's already there. But it's for me, it's something that I work for because that keeps me going. And everybody's got their own way of doing it. And clearly you've got some incredible ways of working through your situations and finding your success too. And I think it's all just based on whatever my situation is it making me get up in the morning and work hard?
Right.
And fucking painting streets and paying your bills that way and also making music while making fucking TikToks. I mean, he was just saying before, there's nothing harder than being an influencer. When you have
Seriously.
to make...
It sounds ridiculous to say for those who aren't actively pursuing that type of lifestyle,
Absolutely.
but it is work. It takes a lot of physical toughness to actually go about your day and do 6, 7, and it takes mental toughness to deal with the repercussions of maybe not nailing something on, and giving something to the public that maybe they don't respond well to. And then it uses up all your creativity on the side.
Yeah.
So that's the 3 aspects of your brain and body that you're
and if you don't have a
pulling.
machine behind fucking making these ideas or filming and that's why I got this job, to have a videographer in it, because bro, I'm doing these videos and I'm like, bro, I'm spent. Like I want to go to this session, but I'm like, bro, what am I thinking about? Like, I'm just so dissociated, like,
Absolutely.
because I'm on the screen. And to be honest, bro, it's toxic for me, at least, like going on Instagram and like having to compare. Like I compare, like that's my biggest thing.
Me too.
Yeah. So
Yeah. I mean, that's human nature, right? I don't know. I would say it's much, actually, I can't really say that, but I would think that it would be easier for younger generations to thrive in this because they've been in it since the beginning, right? Social media or just like having phones in general.
Right.
But like when I was graduating high school was when Facebook was college emails only.
Yeah.
You could only be on there, and so like, and that was it. And like, posting here and there, but like, but now it's like you got to be 24/7 putting yourself out there.
And people are animals on there.
Yeah.
Part of people's way of getting off on social media, the other side of it, their full-time job is to make sure that they let other people know how much they dislike what they're doing. And that all comes from a place of, I wish I was doing what you're doing.
Right.
But that's what's crazy about this is if you're in this world, you're also surrounded by 10 times more hecklers, if you will. And part of the ruggedness of being an influencer is finding a way to no longer listen to the hecklers. And that's fucking, for me, that's not a thing.
That's
like,
a skill.
If I get big enough to where I have hecklers, which I really hope to find success that allows that many people to see me.
Yeah.
But that's something I'm going to have to work on. That's something I'm going to come to you for when I'm in that place. I'm going to be like, dude, how do I handle this? Because it's so, I can't imagine. I mean, right now there's nobody who's harder on me than me. And that I know for sure. But what happens when that changes? What happens when people are harder on you than you are to yourself? What do you just make your daily struggle, the choice of it, that much tougher so that people can't get to there? Do I work out harder than everybody else so that however bad they are to me, it's not worse than the workout I did? Or is it staying up all night trying to make a song and being hard on myself there? Like, how do you find that balance? I mean, I don't get it, but it's a talent.
I think it's a
skill.
lot of it is just like self-awareness, man. Like a lot of it is a lot of self-awareness, and you're not going to get it tomorrow, and it's not in a month. Like for the longest time, I felt resentment towards other people because they would be like, I would kill for Cody Co or these like big YouTubers to like roast me. And it's like, You wouldn't though. And a lot of people still to this day like say the music's trash because I built this following based on like people hating on me and stuff. So it's definitely hard because I'm already hard on myself, right? I already got these voices telling me that I'm not good enough already.
Absolutely.
And I'm trying to fight that with also the internet telling me, and you're vulnerable. No matter what anyone says, you're going to be vulnerable. At least you can be on it 99%, but that 1%, you're going to be like, all right, fuck, they're right. I mean, you're not going to completely demolish your career, but sometimes you think at night, you're like, fuck, nothing's happening with these, and you create these narratives like, oh, this person didn't want to work with me this week. Like I would create these narratives like, oh, I'm fucking a shitty artist. Otherwise, they would be hitting me up right now saying, let's work. So I create these like narratives, and then you start even going deeper when you're driving home and you're like,
Yeah.
dude, I'm dog shit. Why am I doing this? And then there's some days where I'm like, the fuck? Like, I'm going to be the best ever.
And that's the dichotomy of being an artist.
Yeah,
is,
that'll
Right.
never change.
Right.
it's you have the people who are as talented as it gets, and they'll walk in a room shaking, and somebody else look at them and be like, are they okay? Like, I don't get it. They know what they're doing. And then you'll have somebody like a Kanye West, who part of why he's successful is the sheer ignorance to anything but success. And maybe I think for everybody, it's just finding that balance and seeing what works for you, and kind of figuring out the best way to handle it for yourself. And I think that's an issue with the social media world, is you're comparing your situation to so many people that it's too big of a group to get a concise verdict on how you should be going about these situations. Like, everything's new.
A closed door isn't an end of an opportunity. It's not the end. So like Kanye West, all these labels that are, saying no, he went back to the drawing board and said fuck that, and that's what made Kanye, right?
Absolutely.
Otherwise, who knows what would have happened. But I'm just saying, I think a lot of these turn downs or people not wanting to work with them, or I think it was a lot of self-realization, and you go back to the drawing board and you go harder.
Absolutely. Trust me, I live for the experiment, but there is one place in my life that I don't want to be an experiment, and that's when trimming my balls. Luckily, the Performance 4.0 package is here. Inside this package, you will find the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, the Weed Whacker ear and nose trimmer, the Crop Preserver ball deodorant, the Crop Reviver toner, the Performance boxer briefs, and a new travel bag to hold all of your new favorite things. I needed the Lawnmower 4.0 so much more than I ever realized. This thing has a ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents, all thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology, a flashlight so I can actually see where I'm trimming. And not only that, but this thing's waterproof, so I can trim just about anywhere. I love this thing, and I love the whole 4.0 package, from the Lawnmower, the Weed Whacker, the Crop Preserver, the Crop Reviver, and all the free gifts they threw in. Trust me, fellas, your balls will thank you. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code EXPERIMENT at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping with the code EXPERIMENT at manscaped.com. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. You guys have talked about something a few times, which is the TV show.
Should we smoke?
Oh, let's smoke a joint too. I
Tyler
love
wants to
it.
go there.
All right,
But go on.
let's see how coherent we are by the end of this. Crash
Yeah,
is
they
gonna
started-
write
We might be talking about
crazy.
frogs and shit. Dude, the DMT shit is crazy.
Crash is gonna write 80 songs by the end of this.
Yeah, right.
So you guys were on a TV show together, and before I bring that up, I want to roll back a little bit, because I just found out about 25 minutes ago that was not Crash's first TV show, and not only that was it was not his first music TV show, and even before that, it wasn't his first time on film doing something that involved music.
Right.
So let's go back 2 steps real fast.
Okay.
To Hee Hee, to Michael Jackson.
Yes. So I was featured in Ghost of Girlfriends Past, a movie that we did. We shot in Boston in 2008. That's with Matthew McConaughey and Emma Stone. And I played like a young Michael Jackson that did like moonwalk at his old high school dance. And
Did
I
you
was,
know that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was my first encounter with entertainment, Hollywood.
So
How'd you
amazing.
get that?
So this girl that I went to high school with, she was an extra in the movie, and the director Mark Waters, who also did like Spiderwick Chronicles and like a bunch of other shit. He was like, "Hey, like we need somebody who can dance and like do the moonwalk and like all this stuff, and it's for this scene tomorrow and for whatever." So she comes back to school and she's like, "Yo, like tonight, like I'm going to Boston," and I was like. I tell my parents about it. And they're like, "Yeah, okay, go do your little thing, right?" And so I tried out in front of the director, did the moonwalk, pop locked it. Like I used to be. I was like most musical in high school, like one of those, and like I used to break dance, used to do all the shit. And so she was like, "Would you want to go?" So I went and auditioned right in front of Mark Waters and got it on the spot. I spent 3 days on set with Matthew McConaughey and Emma doing that
whole
scene.
suit?
Whole red leather jacket, white glove, whole thing. And it's on Netflix too. So it's 34 and a half minutes in. If anyone wants to check it out,
We're gonna link that, and we'll keep the time codes.
there you go. So that was my first introduction, and that shot in Boston before I even graduated high school. But like I was like, and people close to me when I was young, they were like, "You're gonna be famous." They were like, "You there's something here," and coming from Rhode Island, it's just not a thing. It's just not like
That's so
many
funny.
people make it that far. So then I did that, and then I did a songwriting show called The Cut for Red Bull in 2017, and I won that and won a publishing deal. Started writing for people after that, and then after that, I hosted a album with Twista and Paul Wall called Red Bull Presents, and I was like the host and main songwriter for those two shows. And then we did the show that we met on.
I do know about that.
He's
the
like-
one that he won. So that's
He's like
I
the
didn't know
Ryan
about that.
Seacrest of songwriting.
I just gotta stay in the shadows, but I'll pop up every now and then for a little cameo.
I love it. So first of all, sorry for rolling such a fucking
Oh, that's
terrible joint.
That's not terrible. That's a beast.
This filter.
Yeah,
is
I'm
not.
pretty spacey, but
So tell me about your show. Is there a name for it already? Are you allowed to say the name?
yeah, Songhouse Live. But I really don't know where it like is right now. Like as far as
It's
where
in the
is
business sphere.
the status
somewhere.
of yeah,
But yeah,
like
that was
what
last
network
summer.
is going to be on and stuff like that.
We spent 2 months together in a house outside of New York City, and
With 8 other
yeah,
musicians.
break it down for him. Break it down.
I told you that I was doing this. This was back in March or April.
Yeah.
Probably about a year ago, honestly. Around May, actually. And I was doing the painting the house numbers. And I went into this like 3-day depression where I was like, I've been working nonstop every day with this music stuff. I believe in God and I have a relationship with God. So I was staying in my room for like 3 days straight. And I had some water, but I really didn't have anything to drink.
I would shit in the corner.
I mean to eat. And I literally was like depressed, bro. Probably the lowest point of my life. I felt like a low life. I felt like a reject. And I was living in the back house of my grandma's.
Mm-hmm.
When my manager gets a call from his manager, Benton. And Benton had saw like this video that I had posted. It was just a video audio file, like a snippet. And it had like 1,300 views. Nothing crazy. Nothing like at all. And he really fucked with it. So he's like invited me and 7 other musicians.
Well, you had 1 million followers.
Yeah. So,
Which is,
but my
significant.
engagement was shit because I wasn't doing the POVs. I was doing the music.
Right.
Yeah.
So, anyway, he invited me to be on the show, and the show consisted of 7 other contestants that would compete for a record deal, with Capitol Records and live in a Vera Wang's house in upstate New York, and have cameras 24/7, and there was catering. It was crazy dope.
That's so fun. So tell me your part on this.
So I was the resident songwriter producer. I lived in the house, and over the course of 8 weeks, weeks.
Yeah, 8 weeks or 6.
Basically every contestant needed to produce a 5 to 8 track EP. And everyone was wildly unique, super individualistic. And so the process that I underwent was, or the task I underwent was collaborating, finding their sound, developing their sound, writing their songs, and recording them.
It's got to be a crazy experience to be a songwriter and have that be your day to day, and go to do something like this where you go from being a songwriter to being a producer. Not in the sense of creating the music, but in the sense of you are producing a new artist.
For sure.
You are building up somebody who this is something new for them. So your job is to understand how they can find the category they like the most and where they fit the best, how they can find where their vocal range is. And
Exactly.
please go in more if you can. I mean,
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
sounds
First of all, I want to
incredible.
say that there were also 2 producers that were doing actual like the productions on
Yeah.
things. Kato on the track.
Oh yeah.
Great guy, phenomenal producer, close friend. Can't say enough good things about him. And Michael Pullman, who I had met for the first time doing the show. Phenomenal producer, does everything, multi-instrumentalist. So the 3 of us were tasked with the collaboration aspect of developing these artists. But it was me living in the house and working one-on-one with actually like, what do we want to say today, and what are we thinking, how are we feeling, and then we would get in and then write those songs.
It's almost like a therapist for half of it.
I definitely, that's my style of songwriting, because I'm so empathetic to the point where I was like, if someone's just not having a good day and I walk into the studio, like, we're writing a sad song today because I just got sad and
Yeah.
I'm not feeling it. You know what I'm saying? So it was a crazy journey to see Tyler, the other 7 that were like, here's where I want to get, here's what I think the potential is, and then eliminating all the things that like get in the way of that, and just kind of like crafting just like artists, right? And to see like the journey, to be a part of the journey in such a short time. Like imagine for some of them never doing music before, and then in 8 weeks we need a 8-track EP.
Did anybody play any instruments?
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
Alec
Plays everything.
is a multi-instrumentalist.
So like, yeah, that's the thing. I was so intimidated coming on the show, but I have a video. I could pull it up later if we could pull it up, literally right here.
And Diego played guitar. I was
And
trying
Diego played
Can we
guitar.
pull up a video?
We only have the 8 times set. We don't have the computer plugged into the video.
All right, we'll link a video, so you'll
Yeah,
send it
cool.
to us.
Yeah. I literally say I'm gonna win this record deal, but obviously, my insecurities. I was like, dude, everyone plays instruments. Everyone could sing well. Everyone built a following based on music, right? Except for like one person.
Mm-hmm.
And when I went on the show, it was like, shit. He could play the guitar, harmonica, he could play the skin flute. Anyway, everyone could play everything, right?
That's a tough one to play.
Yeah, right. So, yeah, I don't even know where I was going with this, but I was just like super intimidated because I could only hit high notes that are like, because I'm emotional or whatever. Like, I don't know anything about singing like that, right? So
There's just a lot on the line. It's just like a high stress environment that
he
you're
was
supposed
writing every fucking 15 minutes.
Tell them
with
how many
these
tracks
people.
you wrote.
I mean, so if it was 8-track EP for everybody, we also
Yeah, but we did other songs.
we did for each of them. We also did others that didn't make the cut. I mean, it was literally just 24/7 writing.
probably like 70 songs.
At least.
At least.
At least. It was crazy, and it was like you're in the studio till 4 a.m. and then you're back in the studio 10 a.m. and it was like working around the clock, shifting different genres.
Dude, that's so sick.
It was awesome. Like I'm not gonna sell that short. It was the experience, and just the I guess the skills that I learned in like shifting my train of thought and like hitting different genres, and like also like what dealing with like influencers, most of them, and like just people who have large fan bases and younger. It was dope to just see bounce ideas and just
Yeah.
like, let's try this and let's go for that. And what do you think? And it's funny how some things that I thought were really dope, they were like, that's corny as fuck, like, or like that's whack as fuck. And it's like, okay, I can see why now, like straight up, you know. But you know, you can ask Tyler, like, I would throw a million ideas out there, like, and that's my style of writing. Like, we're in the room, it's like this, no, cool. It's like you could shit on any idea I have, but like I'm gonna come back with another idea.
Yeah,
like,
and,
right
and,
after.
and so we would be playing pool while this is happening too, like, because the studio had a pool table, so we just playing pool, like saying, "Nah, what if we went like that?" Or we were writing like Money in the Bank, and we were talking about, and he was just throwing ideas, like, "Wow, just hitting this fucking behind the shot 8 ball," like, and
I
it was
cannot
just
wait
an
to watch
experience, bro. It was such an experience, and then we would like,
They had a lake, like a lake on the property, like you
Right.
literally, like the house owned it, and just like looking at the lake and then like writing.
I
You know, that's
imagine
what
if you have
camps
a
are.
lot of influencers, you probably the place will probably be pretty badass.
Absolutely.
oh yeah,
And it was.
That's
Absolutely was.
crazy.
and we would write most of our songs outside. The only one we didn't was Thunder Bay. It was inside, and I think like that house would be so crazy to like revisit
Mm.
and like see how much people have like grew.
Yeah.
Well, so Tyler won that show, by the way.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can't skip over that, dude. You fucking won it.
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
amazing.
Uh,
I won it.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it's crazy. Thank you, bro.
It was an internal vote by all contestants. Was it? Well,
yeah, like executive, like
yeah,
the producers and the record deal,
yeah,
or the
and,
record.
and people from label and
The
stuff.
label, yeah.
Like everyone submitted there, and I think internally in the house too, like everyone kind of knew.
What's the
Which is
prize?
crazy, bro, because I promise you when I say this, I can't see that. And I would even tell Crash, like, you think, bro, I'd win it? You think so? Like, I was actually, and I'm not even trying to pick a fucking, you know, someone to, like, tell me, well, what do you call that, a pick-me person? Yeah. Anyways, yeah, I literally was like, yo, I think this person might actually win it. And I just, in my head, honestly, all the time, bro. All the time.
I mean, I think that's part of being a humble person too,
Mhm.
and that's just kind of how you go about everything. From my experience of being with you, is you're very much where you're at. You're in the moment,
Mhm.
and you're not like too proud, and you're not too down. You're just like this perfect balance of like, all right, let's just fucking go. Let's figure this out. But you're
Yep.
also, some people are so busy thinking about what they could have, they're not getting done what they need to do
Mhm.
to get there. You know, they're missing steps. And it just sounds like you're just in a place where you're like, okay, maybe I don't see what it could be, but I'm sure as hell working on what I'm doing right now.
Right, yeah. And Crash and I, we've been working ever since like the show ended. And like I don't really want to talk about the Capitol record stuff, but just know this, bro, like we're gonna be the biggest artists ever. Like, and I've said that like since I started this shit. And like I know it. Like, I know it. Of course, there's fucking sad days and shit, but, like, this guy right here, though, is, like, the reason, like, this is the only thing fucking I could say on, because I don't go on podcasts and stuff, so this is, like, the only podcast recently. Dude, this guy is fucking crazy. Like, insane good. And he's a lot of the reason why, like, who I am as an artist, you know, as a person as well. And I feel like he doesn't give himself a lot of credit, you know?
The fact that I found out he was Michael Jackson this late on, dude, you're incredible. dude.
Unselfish,
things.
like, that's the thing is, like, a lot of the people in the industry, I just go as I go. I don't know about, like, certain percentages, what's a publishing, you know, what is 360 of entertainment income, like, you know, I don't know all that shit, but what I do know is, like, seeing a real person and what's, like, genuine and what's not. And, like, he'll be like, this song could be so phenomenal to me. And I would be like, bro, that song is so good. You should release this, like, for real.
Oh,
Yeah.
songs that I send you.
Yeah.
Oh, they're
And
incredible.
then it's just, like, on to the next song, bro.
I know.
And I'm just like, bro, like, then let me have it because I think this is amazing, bro.
every time I ask him to hear music, it's like he's like,
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
it's crazy. But,
and he's just scrolling for like 10 minutes, and you're like, how do you have enough music to scroll for 10 minutes? It's unbelievable.
It's over 500.
well, even he told me like when I was on the show, he was like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, I lost a hard drive or like a computer or some shit." Like
That
someone
was the
stole it.
story about the album I did with Crookers.
Oh shit.
That our car got jacked, and all the hard drives and laptops that we produced, sessions, everything. So everything before that album, everything I'd ever made,
Wow.
since I've had laptops.
What happened to it, though?
2010.
Well, you built up.
No,
since then?
no. Tell them because they'll be like, "What
So
happened?"
what happened to the laptop?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, our car got broken into on the last day of recording the album. I don't know what I'm doing, neither do you. So we went to Red Bull Records, recorded the album. We're leaving Friday. Just like, let's go like celebrate, have a beer. Go over to Silver Lake. Literally have one beer. Come out, all the windows smashed, and of course I told him and another producer that was working with us at the time to bring everything because it was the last day of the session, and everything was stolen.
Holy
So
shit.
we all had all of our library stolen at like second half of 2018.
Oh my
And
god.
the only thing
dude.
I had to my name was that album.
Like talk about naked.
For real
like,
though.
mentally too. Like you feel.
Oh
just
my god.
Betrayed.
We went to like the top, like sitting, it was basically under the Hollywood sign, overlooking LA. And it was just like, so is this how it ends? Like, is this, the nail in the coffin? Like, I don't have a catalog anymore. And I've been doing this for, at that point, like 7 years.
Bro,
or whatever.
the energy was probably
Holy
like just like
shit.
fuck.
Dude,
You
that's
know,
what
like-
it was. My buddy Brett, he's a screenwriter. He's one of my best friends, and I told him to come to the session. He had like screenplays and like shit that like he lost. It was like everyone lost something super creative and then like personal to them. But yeah, so
I've
so
had
all I
hard
had was the
drives
album.
break.
Oh yeah.
I've had them like bust where you can't fix them and there's like no recovery.
Mm-hmm.
And that feeling of just like it's not even sad. It's like just pure confused on how it's like death.
Yeah,
It's like I had something.
and it's like you're trying to figure things out, and you're like, oh no, but because it's not there anymore.
Well, it's like a big part of you. But you clearly have since then made a catalog that's still bigger than most people's careers.
Yeah, so 500 since then.
That's ridiculous.
It's all right. It's all right. I've made way more. Like that doesn't count like the 80 or whatever at Songhouse. Like it's just like
Yeah.
shit that my voice is on.
That's so crazy.
Um,
That's amazing that, you
yes.
know,
So again,
10,000
going back to the
hours.
first, in the first conversation that we had, that it's just another chip that you add to the shoulder. It's like, fuck. Well, this will be a good story one day, and it is.
now we're here.
Yeah.
Exactly. You never know in those situations.
It also shows, hey, if something happens and life strikes, because it does, you still could end up on multiple TV shows with multiple phenomenal deals and still loving what you do. Like
Yep,
that's
and
not
that all
it.
came after. That all came after that
See,
incident.
that's incredible.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
It's just trusting, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And just being and understanding that, dude, it's not gonna be tomorrow. Like, dude, you just never know. I can meet Justin Bieber at a mall tomorrow and be like, "Yeah, I like your vibe," and like come on to the team. Like, I'm telling you, that's how life is so weird like that.
Absolutely. Well, that's part of the reason that people ask. I feel like you have two sides of LA. You have the people that say it's all fake and it's all this and it's all that. First of all, those people are always wrong. If anything is all something, then you haven't explored very much. You haven't left your group of friends or whatever it is.
It's true.
This place is just an accentuation of everything else that comes here. Every different place, every different race, every different type of person. There's just a lot more of them. That's all this is. So everything takes a little bit more effort. You want to find the right friend group, you have to keep trying until you find a couple people that are phenomenal. And then you start meeting their friends. Then you start going to these Shabbats.
Yeah, it's
and you have
crazy, bro.
this.
Yep.
That's exactly how we're sitting in this room together.
Mm-hmm.
And this whole place, all you got to do is keep your head down when it's time to work and put your head up when it's time to move. And don't miss the people that are walking past you.
Yep.
Don't take everything too seriously, and figure out a way to wake up every day doing what you love while enjoying yourself,
Mm-hmm.
sitting next to the people that enjoy you. It makes every bit of the difference. And I think that's what you guys are doing.
Mm-hmm.
This whole experience has been nothing but feeling like family talking to each other. Sounds like two, like a younger brother and an older brother having a conversation about how they're going to further their lives in every way possible. And I think you guys both bring that on to everybody around you, which is also a big part of the success, is not thinking that there's only enough room for some.
Yep.
There's enough room for everybody as long as you're doing your job.
Uh-huh.
And you're a big proponent of that, whether you say so or not, because everybody that you talk to, you try to build up. And
Absolutely.
all I hear from you is, hey, let's work.
Yeah.
Let's do this. But then also, let's go to the fucking dog park and hang out as couples, which we did, which was, I mean, like, I love that. I love that experience and what you guys
And I think
both
that comes,
bring.
there's a time for that. Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good.
Like, there's a time for, like, because I was, studio day in, day out, studio rat, like, and as you progress through and, create opportunities for yourself and stuff, like, you realize, it's almost like you realize what's really important and contributing to, like, why you create and, like, why you make anything. It's like life experiences kind of, like, manifesting themselves through the music that you make, right?
Absolutely.
And the reason that I was able to do, like, the few years studio rat, and the reason I think anyone is because you lived a lot before the time that you did that, right? And there's a lot of material there.
Right.
A lot of source.
I was just going to say, though, it's important to live, too, though.
Yeah.
Because I find myself forcing it, and it's like, there's so many people, like, have opinions on, no, you're supposed to keep going after, like, feeling some type of mental block there. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I was saying, like, dude, living is so important.
Absolutely. The best way to write a story is to live a story.
And, like, for the longest time, I would be like, I'm a shitty artist because I can't sit here and write a fucking song right now, right? So I'd be like, I'd listen to Crash and he'd say, just get up and go do some shit, right? So I'd get up and go do some shit, and then even that whole week, it's nothing. And it's like, what am I doing with my life? This is all I know. All I know is music. If I'm not doing music, it's like, what am I doing here?
Mm-hmm.
Find your vices outside of what you love, and I promise you'll find stories to help do what you love, Find everything that makes you get up in the morning, and all the things that are outside of the career, For me, it's doing this. It's, outside of my fucking absolute diehard passion for making music. I don't have the music without hanging out with musicians. I don't have the music without going to the mountains. I don't have the music without going on walks with my girlfriend and my dog. These experiences,
conversations.
Yeah, in life, and you might pass a tree and something triggers that gives you something that'll pay for the rest of your life.
Yep.
But so many people come here, and their job for themselves is to keep their head down and do nothing but work. And then they're missing out on all the situations that eventually get you to the room that makes the difference. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to be the song. It can be the room. It can be the Shabbat. It can be the this. It can be the that. But as long as you're meeting these people and you find yourself with friends, it's a lot easier to write with a friend than it is somebody who isn't.
Yep.
It's phenomenal. Before I wrap this up,
dude, hold on. I'm so high right now.
That's why I'm wrapping it up. I'm baked.
like I'm having anxiety, bro.
All right, let's wrap this shit up then. All right, I love you both. Thank
Love
you so
too,
much
man.
for coming
Appreciate
on
it.
here.
Thank you, bro.
Appreciate you having us, for real.
It's been an absolute pleasure,
Yeah.
and let's do this more often. I think you both have a lot more to teach, and I think a lot of people gain a lot from you guys.
Hell yeah.
I love you guys. Thank you, everybody, and to everybody listening.
I'm Tyler Brash,
I'm Crash.
and this is an experiment.
Yeah, baby. Goodbye, everybody. Love you guys.
Later.
The experience is the experiment.